welcome back to my lecture series. This is Muthuminal R, Assistant Professor from the Department of Agricultural Engineering at SNS College of Technology. Today we'll see the topic on crop product condition, soil mapping and digital soil classification that comes under the unit Application of Remote Sensing and GIS under the subject Geographical Information System for the students of third year 5th semester. Before going into the session, let us have a small recap what we have seen in the previous lecture series. What we have seen in the sense, we have seen what is crop acreage and what are the water requirement and how we can determine them and identify the necessity of these kinds of water requirements. So these are the things that we have seen at the previous class. Today we'll use our design thinking approach in GIS for the application of identifying the crop condition, soil mapping and digital soil classification. Here what we are gonna basically do in the sense we are gonna explore innovative approaches that will help us to identify the agricultural challenges through geographical information system and design thinking methodology. As we all do know that if there is going to be any kind of problem, we have to identify its basic necessary or the first initial problem that is faced by each and every person. So in order to do so, we have to empathize ourselves to understand the crop and soil challenges, so at which if we are gonna go and speak with the farmers or the end users, we have identified these are the problems that could be identified. Those are variable soil fertility, crop disease detection, water stress and irrigation, and soil erosion and degradation. Under variable soil fertility, we can identify the nutrient level distribution that causes a significant variation across the field, which requires precision mapping to optimize crop growth and minimize the waste. Under crop disease detection, as we all do know that the early identification of plant diseases through multispectral imaging helps us to prevent the widespread of crop damage and yield loss. Under water stress and irrigation, monitoring the soil moisture level and crop water needs the efficient irrigation scheduling and the water conservation. Soil erosion and degradation will help us to track the quality changes over the time which will be implemented for targeted conservation practices. So from these kinds of problems that we have identified, we can group them into four categories under the soil mapping and cropping conditions. So the main problem that has to be addressed are the soil texture and composition, crop type distribution, topography and slope, and climate variables. So under these kinds of things, because we all do know that from place to place the texture of the soil differs. That means that the percentage of the soil, that is clay, silt and sand percentages, will help us to determine the water retention capacity and the nutrient availability. So this is why it is very much mandatory for us to map the soil so that we can identify the crop conditions. So this will reveal us different drainage patterns and erosion risk zones, mapping the crop pattern for the rotation planning, and also it will help us to identify the climate variables like rainfall, temperature, and humidity data integration for predictive modeling. So here, since the problem is in classifying the soil and mapping the soil, under ID8 we can go for digital soil classification techniques. So the first technique that we could use is spectral analysis. Under spectral analysis, what we are going to do in the sense, we are going to use these sensors to capture the soil reflectant pattern across the visible, near infrared and thermal wavelengths to identify the soil properties without soil sampling. That is, we are not going to get any physical sampling. Under the machine learning classification, we can use random forest or support vector machines and neural network process spectral signatures to predict the soil types, organic matter content and nutrient levels with high accuracy, so with which we can identify the data and group them. So after which we can do the ground truth integration, where the physical soil samples will be validated with the help of digital classification, and then we can help those kinds of data to train the algorithm and calibrate remote sensing models for improved precision in local conditions. So here I have given you two interactive quiz which will help us to test your GIS and soil knowledge. Which GIS data is most critical for detecting crop water stress? As we all do know that here we do need an image for identifying these kinds of GIS data. So the answer is going to be thermal infrared imagery, which helps us to detect the leaf temperature variations indicating water stress. What technology helps classify soil digitally from soil data? So the ML algorithm will help us to analyze the spectral patterns for automated soil classification. So these are the two questionnaires which I was trying to ask you. So what we have come into conclusion at the previous slide, in the sense we said that we are going to use the algorithm to train them and to incorporate machine learning and GIS data for precision crop management. So for applying GIS for the precision crop management, we can use certain prototypes to develop them. So what we are gonna do, in the sense we are going to implement the GIS in the precision farming, which will help us to manage the crop. As I have shown here, two differences before GIS implementation and after GIS guided management are shown here for your preview. So this could be tested with the help of GIS success stories. So these are certain case studies which I would like to share you with you all today. So what happens, in the sense if we incorporate GIS, we'll get increased productivity of about 42 percentage, and input cost that we have to provide for the resource has to be about 30 percentage, and environmental sustainability could be reached by us for 55 percentage. This will lead us to reduce the chemical runoff and water waste, and also will help us to adopt GIS in the farms to improve the crop yield. So at last what we have seen today is, under empathize we have identified the farmers challenges, and after analyzing the farmers challenges, we have defined a problem that soil properties and crop conditions plays a major role, so that we could use this kind of GIS data layers for these kinds of problems, and provide a idea, and under which digital classification like spectral analysis machine learning model could be used, after which we can develop a prototype where precision agriculture plays a major role using variable rate technology and smart irrigation. This could be tested at the real world validation through case studies. So these are the things that we have seen today, and also I have shared you a reference material for which you guys can go and view on it. If you guys have any kind of doubt or anything, you guys can ping me anytime. See you at the next class. Thank you.